Good morning, everybody. I'm here with the amazing psychic Liz Cross. My name is Mr. Photon. How are you doing today, Liz?
Oh, very well. Thank you. Yes, just to clear up any confusion, Mr. Photon and Mr. Reality are two separate people.
We kind of
Uh,
sound alike in some ways, I think, probably. So I
a
can,
little bit,
yeah,
apart from the fact you're from two different countries, but okay.
that's true. They don't know that though.
No.
Um, all right. Well, we have a probe on Mr. Larry Fink joining. Well, he's already a part of it, but he's now the interim chairman of the World Economic Forum, which is kind of scary, in my opinion. I don't know how everybody else feels. Makes me feel a little uneasy. So if you don't know who Larry Fink is, he's the CEO of BlackRock, and BlackRock control over $2 trillion in assets. I think they're, the only two entities that are more powerful than them would probably be the United States as a country and maybe China, right? They wield massive power in the world. And I think Larry's been on the board of the World Economic Forum, but now he is interim chairman, and he's kind of acting as, he's the one giving the interviews and being the mouthpiece now that Klaus Schwab is out of the picture. And we did a probe on Klaus Schwab actually months back, so you guys can go back and watch that. But now we have, the aftermath of this. Now Larry Fink is up to bat here. So since he's become the interim chairman, I guess is what you would call it, as this headline states, he's calling for a ban on, owning public cars and living in single family homes. So he seems to be continuing on the policies of Klaus Schwab. You'll be happy and own nothing, right? Is the famous quote. And his most recent quote that's kind of making headlines as well is he's saying that we have to force people. Things weren't working the way we were doing business before, so now we have to force people. We don't really know what that means and what they want to force them to do. But if you look at the agenda of the World Economic Forum, it's probably not good for the average person, I would think. So let's bring in Larry Fink.
Okay, I've got him here. What would you like to know?
So, is he changing any of the policies at the World Economic Forum since Klaus Schwab left?
Are you changing any of the policies at the economics? Oh, yeah. Since Klaus Schwab was. Oh, yeah. He wants his own, in his own words, personal thoughts and feelings, his own stamp on the World Economic Forum.
So, how does his vision change from Klaus Schwab's?
How does your vision change or differ from Klaus Schwab's? In his mind, he says he's more capitalist than Klaus Schwab.
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense, which is interesting. Um, but is he for capitalism for people like himself, or would he like the communist sort of ideas to be put on the public?
Hmm. So are you more for capitalism for yourself? Oh yeah, he's this guy's loaded.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's one of the richest people in the world. But a
Are
lot of his
you
policies, like, a ban on owning public cars and living in single family homes, that kind of sounds more on the communist side, I would say. You know what I mean? I mean,
so
could be
are
wrong.
you, well, let's ask, are you planning to ban public car? Nobody should own a car. That's nice. So let's ask this question. How do you get around? He is a driver. And do you take private planes all the time?
Yeah, right. So does he believe in like the equality of the that he should also not own a car and, you know, not fly on public jets?
Do you believe that you shouldn't own a car? No, he has to own a car. He's a very important businessman, he said. And do you believe that you shouldn't be flying around on private jet? He owns his own jet.
Yeah,
Do you
right.
believe you shouldn't be flying around? No, it's my jet. I paid for it.
Right.
This is
But
hilarious.
this is hilarious, right? So, but wouldn't you want to share a jet with 50 other important businessmen and women?
Wouldn't you want to share a jet with 50 other or other important businessmen and women, people? No, I like things my own way.
Okay, right. Well, obviously, just kind of funnily pointing out the hypocrisy, right? He wants all of us to
Hmm.
not own cars, but he wants to have his own private jet and not share it with other people. So, you can see the hypocrisy there, I think.
Yeah, can I ask him another question?
Sure.
So why do you think that members of the public, the general public, should not have cars? Because it's not good for the environment. Okay, but neither is your private plane. It's my plane, and I will ride in it if I want to.
Right.
God.
So does he see that, like, why does he think that he's above not the law, but above the, what would you call it? The environmental, ideology, I guess, or however you would say.
And why do you think that you are above the environmental impact ideology? Ooh, now as I'm asking that question, he's starting to get really aggressive with me. He does not like being questioned in that way.
Sorry, Liz.
But I'm going to ask him again, why do you think that you are entitled to have your drivers, your cars, your private planes? He also has a couple of yachts, just putting it out there. Why
Mm.
do you think that you're entitled to have those and other people are not? He just spat on me.
Mm. Okay. So we can kind of see that, yeah, it's not when when people like this are talking about, equality and we're trying to save the environment, what's is there an ulterior motive here? Like the public thing, what they're saying is we're trying to save the environment, we want to, save the earth. We want to, decrease CO2 and all that, all that stuff. Does he really believe that?
Do you really believe that you want to decrease CO2? You want to save the planet? Like, can you do this by taking cars off the road? Do you really believe that? He's spat on me again. Okay, this guy is nasty. And I
Okay.
have probed him quite a few times. I've never had him be this aggressive, but I've never ever probed him about his personal life.
Right.
It's always been about BlackRock or whatever's going on in the economy. So
Mm.
why do you think that it is actually worthwhile? Those are the rules. So are you saying that you're following on with this agenda just for the sake of like getting a pat on the back and being recognized? Now, he is. So this is, it's a way to look like he's one of the club,
Uh,
right? He doesn't
right.
actually believe in what he's touting here,
Okay.
is what I'm getting very strongly. But it's a way to be recognized. It's recognition, a pat on the back, a good job. You're following the agenda. Because what he actually wants to do in this World Economic Forum, they're all business people. They all do business with one another, and it's all about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right?
Mhm.
And that's why he wants to remain in there. So he's getting leads on what's going on in the world. He knows where to invest his money. He knows how to make money. He can sell products. He can buy products. All this is an elite business club.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I guess can we bring in someone else then? Let's bring in the founding fathers as someone to get like another. Because I don't think you want to keep getting spat on. That's not nice. So
No, well, it's not. It's virtual, thank God.
still, it's energy, right?
Right.
Um, so let's ask the founding fathers. He's there to, as you were saying, to rub shoulders with the other business people and get a pat on the back and all that stuff, and scratch their backs and have that scratching party. But like, is there is is there like an agenda that's above all of that there, people like himself are being rewarded for pushing?
Is there an agenda above all of that that people like himself are being rewarded for pushing? It really is a money-making enterprise. Okay, because
Okay.
if they're pushing the agenda, right, this is what I'm getting from the founding fathers. It makes sense. If they're pushing the agenda, then they go into those enterprises and they sell the
Mm,
products. They make the products, they sell the products. It's a
gosh.
way to convince humanity that you have to buy this product. You have to, you know what I mean? You have to buy this. I
Mhm.
mean, what a better way to make money than to mandate that somebody has to have something. So say, just hypothetically speaking, an example that the founding fathers are giving to me is, just say that maybe they mandate that everybody has to have a certain type of solar panel on their roof, right? They have to
Mm.
run a certain type of solar panel. Well, these guys, they're already making it, right? They're making the solar panel, their companies have been set up and they're
They're
making it,
invested
and
in the
they're
stock, all that stuff.
right. And they're investing, right, investing in the stock, and they're investing in the whatever components it takes to make these solar panels, and they're making a bomb. This is why they want these mandates, right? They want to push this agenda from what I'm getting. I'm not saying that their ideology is right or wrong. I have no opinion about that. But what I'm getting is, this is the what they're thinking behind it. Oh yeah, well, if we make everybody have to have, a water filter or a solar panel, and we manufacture it, and you take this component, you take, we're all in business, we're all making trillions of dollars. That's how they think.
Okay.
Instead of having to come up with some innovative invention of their own, right?
Hmm.
That has a use case, it's just much easier. It's an easy way to make money.
Okay, so that makes sense to me in a lot of ways. But also I want to ask about um, the idea that the Economic Forum is also, and they've said this, right, in different ways, they want to reduce the population, right? They want to reduce, children being born in different countries and stuff like that. And, you can interpret that however you want. Some people take it pretty far and say that they really want to, reduce the human population quite low. But whatever the truth is, like, do they have an agenda to lower the population around the world for whatever reason?
You have an agenda to lower the population around the world. Do they have an agenda to lower the population around the world? I mean, it's whatever's profitable.
How would that be profitable to them?
How would that be profitable to them? I mean, in the long run, it won't, because you need the younger
Consumers.
generations to prop up the older generations, right?
Right.
So in the long run, it doesn't pay.
Gotcha. Okay. And what about the investment in thing and in like control structures, like, things that would like we'll get into it. And then the next thing that I want to probe is someone that's also part of this is Palantir. So, it's a social credit score system. So there's been a whistleblower that's come out that said that there's a World Economic Forum linked company that's going to be operating in the United States, which will be launching the social credit score system in the United States. So I don't know if we can find out if that's true. We can ask, is this an agenda of the World Economic Forum?
This is an agenda. Oh, they would love that. And they want to go onto this social credit score system, not just in the United States, but around the world. And, it'll have a green agenda attached to it. So you earn points and you have carbon footprints and you have,
Mhm.
points taken away and whatever. Um, it's not going to happen, okay? But they would love for it to happen.
Well, that's good news. So I guess how does that make them money? Is that just as simple as, like you said, because it has all the green agenda attached to it, they're going to be making money off taxing people for carbon credits, or, they have to buy the electric car or whatever it is, Is that the business model there?
How would it make the World Economic Forum money if they did have a universal? No, that it's all about control. They're
Right.
controlling the population, which is exactly what they want to do. That would be ideal if they could. And so now they're telling you what to buy and what not to buy. And of
Right.
course, the products that you have to buy are the ones that they manufacture on the back end, right? You won't know that they manufacture them. You won't know that their corporation, which is shielded by 10 other corporations, actually belongs to that person, Larry Fink, or any of those people in the World Economic Forum, because they have law firms and they know how to hide very well. But that's what they want to do. So if you control this, how the population spends their money, you basically it's nonstop income coming in. So you're getting richer and richer and richer and richer. And the more rich that you become, what I am getting is that the more control you have over the population. I mean, I'm getting very strongly here from the founding fathers that their ideal their ideal life for us minions here would be to restrict everything. So restrict movement. That's why they really don't want you to have a vehicle. They want to restrict your movement. The founding fathers are saying, why do they want to restrict movement? So they can control you, right? And then you can only buy from things that are in, sort of a contained or within a specific location. And their
Mm.
products are what is there for you to buy. They don't want you to have the freedom of movement.
Mm. Right. Okay. So when you got the answer from the founding fathers that this will not be successful, were they just um, referring to the United States?
Are you just referring to the US? I mean, yes, mostly the US. Will it be successful in some countries? Yeah, Canada will fall to this social credit score system. And again, it's going to have that green agenda attached to it. Now, how long before? Oh, it's a ways out. Look, these things are like the slow takeover, is what I'm getting. But in probably 30 to 40 years' time,
Okay.
Canada will be under this social credit score system. Canadian citizens will be controlled.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm assuming like Europe as well.
What about Europe? Parts of Europe, Germany, I'm getting. What about the UK? No, not the UK. The
Austria.
Netherlands, and what about Italy? No, what about France? France? Yes. What about Spain? Yes.
What about
Um,
Australia?
so it's kind of, give and take, yes and no for parts of Europe.
Australia?
What about Australia? Australia may fall into the universal credit score system or social credit score system before anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would have kind of assumed. It would have been like
Wow.
Australia, Canada, and then parts of Europe. 'Cause,
Like, what's going on in Australia?
yeah.
Like, I'm so shocked by that answer. But yeah, Australian citizens are easiest to control. Why are they easiest to control? Because they have a very large majority. Now, our Aussie viewers will have to put in the comments, whether this is true or not, but this is what I'm getting. They have a large percentage of the population that actually works for the government. So you're relying upon the government to give you your paycheck and to feed you.
Yeah. And yeah, they're on an island also, like a gigantic island, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a huge landmass, but still my point is that it's not, there's nothing much around it. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of
Mm.
cut off in its own way. It's kind of just geographically, I feel like it's easier place to do this kind of things as, a test run for everywhere else. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of how I thought about it anyways. Um, so okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk about that's kind of related is the Genius Act in the United States, which was passed. And I've been hearing a lot of, and I thought this as well. Everybody was kind of cheering this on, and this is so part of the Genius Act. For those that don't know, that was passed in the United States over the last few months. It was a lot of this to do with stable coins. Okay, and it's the current administration has said that they will not do a central bank digital currency. I'm pretty sure that they have come out and said that. However, the Genius Act could offer like a back door to bring in something similar to a central bank digital currency through the existing stable coins that are operating. So what they've done is they've mandated now through this act that all the stable coins in the United States to legally operate, they must be backed by US dollars, which, that's fine. That sounds kind of reasonable, right? But this is a way for them possibly to control all of the legal stable coins in the United States. And unfortunately, what stable coins are is they're programmable money. So you can turn on and off people's accounts on the stable coins. You can deactivate their holdings, right, wherever they are. And so this is kind of what people are afraid of with a central bank digital currency is that the banks would be able to shut people off, right? So right now, how it works, like if you own USDT or um, a USDC, if you are deemed as like a threat, like maybe you're a hacker or something like that, and the government says like this person stole this amount of money, they can go to the company and they will freeze those funds wherever they are from going anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if they're all now under control of the government under this act, I mean, you could see where this could go, where it's not going to be a central bank digital currency, but they could have control over the current stablecoins that operate in the United States and basically just do the same sort of thing. It's just under a different name. So I guess I want to ask the founding fathers, this Genius Act, will it lead to something like a CBDC through stablecoins?
Will this Genius Act lead to something like a CBDC with stable coins? Will it lead to it? I think they're going to push for it, is what I'm getting from the founding fathers. It's
Hmm.
going to backfire.
How?
How will it backfire? Too many businesses, people, citizens are against it.
Okay. Okay. And so like how it stands right now, let's say that you are someone that stole some money from a company. You stole it and you have the stable coin. You can have your assets frozen, right? So what is stopping the government from doing that to anybody if the Genius Act is now in effect?
Genius Act is now in effect. So
Like
I'm
an
I'm
average
confused because
person.
they do freeze accounts if they find that they believe that your accounts have been funded through criminal activity.
But I think you have to go through, normally you'd have to go through, law enforcement and all this stuff.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like do court, all that.
mm.
But right now, I don't think that's the case, right? They're just able to just, knock on Tether's door or whatever USDC and be like, hey, freeze this account, technically. Now, they haven't really abused it so much, but I mean, I don't think there's anything stopping them from abusing it. So,
Let's ask Tether and USDC. So I'm going to group the both of them together. Has the US government actually requested or demanded that you freeze accounts all the time?
yeah. And they don't
And
have to go through any like courts or, due process or anything like that.
do they have to go through any courts? They usually do have a court order on
Okay.
the person that they're freezing not just their crypto accounts, but also their all their assets.
Hmm.
So it would be, let's ask this question to the founding fathers. So is that still going to be the procedure? Yes, mostly it's still going to be the procedure. It would be all assets.
Okay. And they would need a court order, I guess is
Would
what
they
I'm asking.
need a court order? Yes,
Okay.
they would have to have a court order. The only difference is it can happen much faster
Yes.
than having to like go to banks and each individual bank, if you have small timey banks, credit unions, you have to present the paper at the credit union, then the credit union has to freeze it, things like that.
Mhm.
It will happen much faster.
Yeah. Okay. So, if my concern was, and how it would connect is what we were talking about before, if they start a social credit score system, right? I would think it would be connected to one of these stable coins so that they could turn and turn off people's money and, you know, obviously not just for doing criminal activities, but for, having a bad social credit score. That's what you're afraid of. That's kind of what happens in other parts of the world. So I was wondering if these things will be connected at some point, but it doesn't sound like it's going to happen in the United States, at least.
Well,
Uh,
let's ask. Let's ask. So, in the countries that do adopt more of a social credit score system, will the digital assets, because I mean, we can think of it in terms of cash. It's still even all digital now. It's digital money, digital things showing in the bank, yet, it's just numbers on a screen.
yes.
Um, so let's ask, will they link the accounts to, yeah, they will. They're going to link the accounts, all accounts, plus your biometric data,
Yeah.
to your social credit score system. And then what happens? And then they can completely shut you down.
Right. Yeah, and so a couple of weeks ago, there's in Vietnam, actually. I don't think this really made the news much here, but I saw it on social media and I investigated it. The Vietnamese government has been demanding that people give all their biometric data in order to have a bank account in the country, and they gave a deadline of September. And so the deadline is passed now, and they have erased 86 million different bank accounts that did not comply with handing over the biometric data. And so now going forward, if you open up a bank account, you must give your biometric data over. So we can tie this in because I'm pretty sure they're affiliated with the World Economic Forum. So we can ask um, eh, whoever, if you want to ask the founding fathers, or I don't know if you want to get spit on again, but can we ask if Vietnam, their new banking regulation with the biometric data, is this a World Economic Forum, you know, mandate or agenda that has been carried out?
Banking fiasco in Vietnam. Is this following along the lines of the World Economic Forum? I mean, yes, I'm getting a yes. That is where they got the ideology and the idea from.
Yeah.
Um, but for them, for the Vietnamese, it's also about no longer printing money. There's a lot to be saved from no longer printing money, is what I'm getting.
Mhm.
And so you're saying they wiped out how many accounts for not attaching biometric data?
Supposedly there's 86 million accounts that did not comply.
86 million accounts that did not comply. Yeah, that's correct. And what about those people? Everything's frozen. If you don't comply, all of your money is frozen. I'm like, what about elderly people who wouldn't have a clue what this, not saying that all of them are like that,
Mhm.
but surely to God, there's going to be some of these elderly people that don't have, or maybe people that are disabled that need some assistance. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm getting it doesn't matter. Too bad. It's all frozen.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure that caused a lot of chaos for some people. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so that's kind of like where things could be going in some of these countries like Canada and Australia and some countries in Europe. I think that's what you can expect that they're going to try and also implement. Um, okay.
Let's ask this question. Is the USA going to implement biometric data attached to every account? Eventually, all countries will do that.
Yeah.
All countries will have, okay. I shouldn't say all countries because there's going to be small countries, developing nations.
All modern countries, I think is what you're saying.
Right. All modern countries will have biometric data attached to their bank accounts. Now, is this going to be the same for crypto accounts? No. If you, as long as you're, and Mr. Photon, you'll have to tell people how they do it, but as long as you're operating with just crypto wallets, will they have biometric data attached to the crypto wallets? Not necessarily.
No. No, I mean they can try and make them, but you'd have to get everybody to comply. So how are you going to do that? You know,
Mhm.
that's the thing. So I don't think they could enforce that. That's the problem. Now they could try and enforce that on, the companies like Binance or Coinbase or something like that. That would be more
Mhm.
realistic. Um, okay, my next question is about, so I saw this report, this that Putin's advisor warned that the US government is using the Genius Act and the control of their US stablecoins to basically use it as a way to offload their debt to the world. So the US is currently has, a balance of something like 35 or 37 trillion dollars in debt. And obviously they're just printing money, right? We all know that. And that's why you buy Bitcoin, right? And so inflation is increasing, 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 and they can never really pay off the debt. But this may be a plan to offload the debt to the world because if they now use the stable coins are now by law all backed by US dollars in the United States, which means if people adopt crypto around the world, they will be using those stable coins that are backed by US dollars. So it's plausible, and that's what the Russians were saying, that this could be a scheme to basically unload the debt on the entire world by pushing everybody to use stablecoins around the world that are backed by the US dollar. Um, Now, that's obviously this is the perspective of, Putin's administration, right? And they want to frame their own, you know, propaganda or however you want to say it, right? Obviously, but I think there could be some truth to that. It makes sense to me. So I guess we have to ask the founding fathers, because I don't really know who's behind all of this, who we could point to. But is there a group in the United States that has this plan to basically use stable coins backed by the US dollar to offload the debt to the world?
Is there a plan to use stable coins to offload the debt to the world? As
Mhm.
in, it would just be absorbed by the stable coins?
Yeah, like that people would st continue using the dollar, not, but now digitally through the stable coins.
Right. But the problem is, all they're going to do is just create debt in the stable coins.
Yes, so but it's allowing them to keep the game going where they can just print more and more and more and more money. It's not that they're going to pay off the debt, but it's a way for them to just to keep printing money and not have it affect as much or bring down the system.
Hmm. It's a way to keep them printing more money and not have, are they going to move? I just don't see them doing it. I mean, they would like to.
Hmm.
They're just not going to be able to do it. Not certainly in our near-term future.
Right.
I
It still
mean, I'm
requires the
getting,
participation of everybody for that to work.
yeah, and people don't forget. We vote for these people. Now, I know it doesn't sound like they represent us and, they have our best interests and they're not just there for themselves. Like, I know all that. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, what I'm getting very strongly from the founding fathers is if they think they're going to lose votes, and you have candidates that are saying, we will not do this, we will not be forced into a digital life, then the majority are swapping to, who's pressing which issue that is immediate, right?
Hmm.
They'll lose votes. So they're going to feel defeated. It's just the companies don't want it. Um, Businesses, small businesses do not want it. Large businesses do not want it. I mean, Elon Musk does, of course, but he's a one-off. they really don't,
Yeah.
because it's going to disrupt their business so significantly. You could tank everybody's business overnight, right?
Yeah, there's
Is what
definitely,
I'm getting.
and a lot of the old guard knows that, right? They don't want to take the risk. Like, why fix it if it ain't broke, you know? So if it's gonna happen, it will probably be with younger people taking power and understand it better. And, I don't think it's gonna be an overnight thing by any means.
Mm-mm.
Um, okay, so it's good news. I think we're kind of getting good news that some of these things are at least far off into the future, or they're just never going to be realized, at least in the United States anyway. So that's good news, right? If the United States, like, I'm not American, but I'm glad that the United States isn't going to fall prey to this because they really are, you know, they're kind of keeping this at bay for a lot of other people in the world, right? If they fall, then we all fall, right? In a lot of ways. So it is kind of good news. All right. The other thing I wanted to ask before we shut it down was, specifically about, there's no secret that Larry Fink is gobbling up all of the Bitcoin, in the,
Mm.
and like now that he's how does this change anything with Bitcoin now that he's World Economic, because the World Economic Forum, they have been involved in crypto for sure, but they do not like Bitcoin, I would say. You know, that's kind of a thing for them. So does Larry Fink's position at the World Economic Forum change the World Economic Forum's view on Bitcoin at all, or?
Mm. Do you think your position is changing the view on he's shouting at me on the World Economic Forum? I mean, they're becoming more pro Bitcoin. They realize Bitcoin's not going to go away. He's like, I don't like you asking me questions.
Oh, God.
He's really not happy with me, but you know what? You can surround yourself in the ball of white light all you want to. But when it comes to remote viewing, you're a sitting duck.
Hmm.
And there's no way you can avoid me going in there asking questions. And I can continue to bug him until he answers them. Not that I'm a terrible person or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, so being hostile is not going to help you. It's not going to make me go away. Um, okay, so I mean, there seems to be more widespread adoption of Bitcoin. Again, these are old, crusty businessmen and women.
Mhm.
They just want absolute control. And I'm saying, well, okay, if they want absolute control, why don't they just go into politics? No, because that's bad for business.
Yes.
Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Because your businesses take a hit and you significantly lose a lot of money. He's saying to me that, if you run for office.
Yeah, you're subject to the political ups and downs. You don't want your company directly connected to it. So instead, they lobby in the background, right, where it's out of the media's eyes.
So do you think that lobbying is more powerful than running? Oh God, so do you believe the lobbyists hold all the power? Oh, extreme power. He's
Yeah.
saying, Larry Fink is saying to me, lobbyists hold extreme power.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to know who controls things in any country, just look where the money, follow the money, right? Who are the biggest lobbyists, right? So,
Wow.
yeah. So if they want to have complete control, and in my opinion, Bitcoin is like antithetical to that. It's putting control into the hands of people who adopt it. What is their policy on that? Is all they can do since they can't stop is just buy it? Is that the answer for them?
What is your policy on that? So you mean to stop people from buying Bitcoin?
Well, I don't think they can, but like if you can't beat them, join them, right? So they're just buying it all up. At least Fink is,
Oh
anyways.
yeah. Oh, but we probed out into the future where BlackRock is the top holder of Bitcoin.
Yeah. They're pretty close already. So is that his answer? Because the World Economic Forum wants to control people, right? But Bitcoin offers people to have control. So is their only option to just buy Bitcoin and keep it out of the hands of other people?
To buy Bitcoin and keep it out of the hands of other people. Is your only option. Just try to buy and keep it out of the hands of people. Yeah, because they can't have independence and sovereignty if they can't hold Bitcoin, if they can't access it. Because they're not selling Bitcoin. I can tell you right now, BlackRock's goal is to hoard all the Bitcoin and to never let it go. It will not be released back out into the public.
Right.
And the more that enters into the trading, the more they scoop up.
Right.
And it's almost a way to remove Bitcoin from the hands of the public,
Yep.
right? Just take it all away. If they, how clever are they? If they take it all away and get it completely off the market, it becomes worthless. It's worth nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever be able to do that completely, but they're just gonna by doing what they're doing, they're gonna eventually make it so elite to have it that no, you know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be accessible. Like the people that manage to just hold it now, they'll become
Mm.
rich, but you won't have the same opportunity as you do now in the future to buy it.
Well, right, but their end goal is if they can control every single piece or
Of
whole of Bitcoin out there, it completely removes it from the market. There's no more Bitcoin. It becomes worthless. Why? Because nobody can buy or sell it. They can't access it, right? In an ideal BlackRock world, that's what they're thinking.
Mhm.
And it turns people back to business, and going back into the stock market, and they're making money that way.
Sure.
I They have no problems doing that to the public at all.
Will they be successful at doing that? We can ask the founding fathers.
Will they be successful? No. What is the most percentage of the whole Bitcoin supply, the peak percentage that they will hold? Oh, God. 85%.
Wow. Okay. That's not good.
85%.
I can tell you that's still not good because if they control 85% of the supply, that means they still have they have a lot of control. How long will it take them to reach that goal?
How long will it take you to read? By 2050.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
They're going to be the ones that anytime you put your Bitcoin up for sale on the market, they're going to be the ones there scooping it up. Now, the other thing that may happen, will happen, thank you, that will happen is that people will start to scrutinize who is actually buying the Bitcoin. They will want some reassurances that it is not BlackRock.
Yeah. Well, don't sell the
But
Bitcoin. That's all.
right. This is why everybody needs to hold. But then, of course, so let's ask this question. What will the trading volume be in 2050? A percentage trading volume in 2050 of Bitcoin. It's going to be what, less, higher, lower than 10%, 5%, lower, 2%. It may be only a 2% trading volume.
Yeah. I don't know what it is now relative to the supply that's available. I have no idea, but
Wow.
we'd have to quantify that. But yeah. As long as they don't have all of it and there's people can actually still trade it, it's still going to be valuable. But you're right. If they somehow grabbed all of it, then they could just be like, well, nobody gets any, so you can't trade it, right? So I see the danger in that also. It's still dangerous for them to hold 85% of the supply for sure, you know. Because
Hmm.
then they really do have control over it. I mean, they could do whatever they want with that, right? So, yeah, but that's good that they don't get all of it. But that's in the meantime, that's definitely bullish, I would say, right? Because they're not going to sell it, and they're just going to keep buying it. So it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up. Sounds like.
Well,
Okay.
that's going to be good for IBIT shares,
Yes.
right? We always got that IBIT was going to be an absolute winner.
Yeah.
Um, just quickly before we go,
Mhm.
one of our members wanted us, she had a great idea because of Palantir and how much power they have in DC right now within the government. They're getting so many government contracts, and there's this thing that's going around that's been dubbed the Palantir Mafia.
Yeah.
And it refers to a network of former Palantir Technologies employees who have gone on to found influential startups, often in areas like AI, defense, data analytics, and enterprise software. And these guys are all scratching each other's back, kind of like the World Economic Forum. So
Yeah.
there is a comprehensive list here that I will put on the Patreon of companies, and she believes, and we will have to probe it out, but she believes that this list, these companies, which have very low stock prices at the moment, are going to be really big in the future. Now, as long as Trump's in power, we've always gotten in probes that Palantir will continue to keep getting government contracts. What happens after Trump is, his presidency is over is another matter. It depends who wins, whether Palantir continues on with these government contracts. So definitely we'll put that one out for the members on Patreon. But I do have this comprehensive list. So we will look into that, I'm sure. Mr. Photon, I'm sure you don't mind looking in. We'll send you a copy of this. And also, Mr. Photon, thank you so much for everything that you do. Please, here's his tip jar. I was just about to say that. Mr. Photon, you must be psychic. Listed
Have an
down
awful.
below is Mr. Photon's tip jar. We very much appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thank you very much.
Awesome job, as always.